What don't you like about living in Costa Rica? For some, it was difficult to answer this question because there are so many things they love about the country. We asked a handful of residents of varying backgrounds what they like least about Costa Rica in an effort to provide a range of opinions and perspectives. If you love Costa Rica or want to keep learning about this amazing country, click the subscribe button and be sure to look for the app In Costa Rica in your app store.
I think when you come from a country where you're used to, especially Massachusetts, which is like very much a country of a law, or a state with a lot of different laws, I would say it's disappointing to see the laws not being followed. I think one of the most obvious examples is when people are building in the marine protected zone. That's a huge problem here in Puerto Viejo, and it's really disappointing because you know that there's a national law and yet people are still doing it, and I think that's probably my least favorite aspect.
I would say government bureaucracy, fraud, and that kind of Wild West there of that.
Okay, what I would change, it's not really something that you can change, is that I feel like people here, well, I think it's like in the city more, is that people don't enjoy like their culture, you know, like in other countries like Colombia, Cuba, like they have like that passion for their culture, like with dancing, like salsa, merengue and stuff like that. People when I lived in the city, and I'm being honest, I have to be very honest with this, people are very just like, you know, they just stand up, they don't dance, they don't have a good time. But like here on the coastline, you do see it as compared in the city, right? So that's the only thing I would change, like where I was living in San Jose, is that, you know, getting people into that exciting passion for like their country, I would say.
I think like economically, there are a lot of challenges to living in Costa Rica. And I generally think that the economic approach is quite negative at times. It's very high taxation. It's very difficult to start a business in Costa Rica. And I don't think that does them any favors as an economy. So that's something that I don't like. And then I guess whenever you're involved with any bureaucratic stuff, if you're trying to get a process done or, you know, do some paperwork, that can be very frustrating.
Some things are difficult to do here, in terms of so getting post, for example. Sometimes it takes 4 hours to get a package that you've had sent to you. Sometimes things aren't made very easy here, is probably the best way to describe it. So that's probably what I would change. Just make the streamlined processes would be easier.
The traffic, for sure. You know, coming from Jacksonville, Florida, and upstate New York, we know how to merge like a zipper. They haven't learned that here yet.
Yeah, I'm definitely beyond my honeymoon phase with Costa Rica. That ended a long time ago. So a few of the things that frustrate me, I guess, about the country would be, but it's also good, right? Because it makes you a better person. Try your patience with bureaucracy down here. Like if you ever try to get something done, have to come at it with a spirit of perseverance and willingness just to go the extra mile and wait twice as long, and just adapting to that, the bureaucratic way. A few other things that frustrate me are the driving here. I think especially just witnessing it over the last 14 years, it's progressively gotten more aggressive. And especially now as a mother, I think about that a lot. I have a toddler, so it's kind of one of these things that rears its head for me, raising a kid here. And God, what would be, I could go off on a list, but I'll try and limit it just to a couple.
That I like the least?
Mm-hmm.
The roads. The fact that the government has not invested enough money on pretty much most of the roads that actually lead to touristy places.
What I like the least is kind of the red tape and all the bureaucracy that we have around here. decisions upon, from the administration or authorities that might seem a little bit exaggerated. I'm not talking about the current crisis necessarily, and just in general. I think some things are pretty stupid, to be honest with you.
I guess probably would be I'm kind of a very punctual person, and I do find that a little bit of the laid back, maybe a little too laid back aspects of some things where people are not on time, or probably that's my least favorite.
Getting the business people in Costa Rica that are over the age of 50 to embrace technology and embrace getting things done quickly. Costa Rica's gone through a real transition, and it's now marching forward competitive internationally. But there's a lot of the older generation of Costa Ricans that seem to be stuck in a time warp of as an example, I just got off the phone with my people and said, we don't need to have a face-to-face conference. We can do all this on Skype video conference. And they were actually surprised. They were like, oh, yeah, we never thought about that. Well, I've been doing Skype video conferences for 8 years.
The prices, it is extremely expensive. Like, it's super expensive. I don't think that things should be that expensive if you have them in the quality you get them here. You know what I mean?
Okay, the only thing that I could think of would be the times that I do go out at night, that there's not many, but just the availability of, I don't know how you're going to edit this, but the availability of prostitution.
As far as that, you wish there was more prostitutes?
No, I wish there was less. and not so obvious. It's just, again, it's just the way everyone has their own, and good for them. It keeps the economy alive, and people got to do what they got to do. But it's pretty prevalent, at Coco, especially in the high season. It's pretty prevalent.
Okay, well, that's a good question. Oh, okay. I wish there was more of an organic food system here. We are really into healthy eating, and I noticed that a lot of the vegetables are conventionally grown, and we would love to increase organic farming here. I think it would be hard to do. But I'd also love to see more composting and recycling.
Being in the process to get my work permit and residency, this takes a lot of time, and yeah, that's what I don't like.
A little bit of the people's minds are still a little bit closed in here. They're not really open for new things. And that would be something I would like to change, so they could have like a little bit more open mind.
That is the fact that you have to get around with car. I would like it to be more pedestrian friendly for sure.
Sure.
The passiveness. It's hard to get a conversation in directly. Other than that, I don't really have much to complain about. Prices can be a little iffy. I mean, you got to really know where to shop, or you got to really know what to talk to people, because if as a expat, the prices tend to be a little bit more pricey. Costa Rica is not as cheap as everybody thinks it is. But as far as that and the passiveness, don't expect a direct answer. They're always going to go in circles before they get to the point. So.
Check out the full playlist as we ask residents some of the most common questions about Costa Rica. In the top right corner, there's a live poll to share your opinion with everyone. Don't forget to subscribe and try the In Costa Rica app.